T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Up, and away. Welcome to a brand new week of the RP Show, everybody. On the Game Plus Television Network and various other platforms, including WQVZ. Oh, we got a big week for you. Scruffy's going to join me in seconds. Coming up, AJ Jakubec, the voice of Ottawa. As far as you're concerned, he's the voice of Ottawa. AJ Jakubec. On Tuesday, Alan May's going to be with us, my really good friend, Mayday, from the Washington Capitals TV network, NHL alum. On Wednesday, Steve Simmons going to be with us from the Toronto Sun. Oh, yeah, a lot of Stanley Cup playoff talk. Scruffy, are you ready to go? Have you have anything to talk about today, Scruffy? I don't know. Anything on your mind, hockey-wise?
Yeah, I just want to talk about how the NHL really has to figure it out.
Oh,
Like,
stop. Hang on.
Major League
Okay.
Baseball.
Hang on. Quick 6 show topics. The big story. For anybody that doesn't know, Stanley Cup playoffs. Okay, there's a bunch of other series going on, but as far as this show is concerned, and Edmonton and Oilers Nation, the Anaheim Ducks beat Edmonton 4-3 in overtime last night on a disputed goal. Over to you.
Was it a goal? Yeah, I think common sense tells us that's a goal. The puck was over the goal line. However, by the state of the NHL rule book, it wasn't a goal because there was no definitive proof that the puck was over the line thanks to Tristan Jarry's skate. And how did the officials, none of them who were even close to the play, call that a goal? That was a case of, oh, I just want to go home. Yeah, let's call it a goal. Because there was no goal call on the ice. Like, I don't understand. As I said, it's a goal. But under the rule book, that is not a goal. So the NHL brings this on themselves. And please tell me, I want to know two things. One, it's great to hear Chris Knobloch say, well, it wasn't definitive. It's great to hear Tristan Jarry say, I don't think it was in. It's great to hear Joel Quenneville say, that reminded me of the Patrick Kane goal in 2010. And Ryan Poehling to say, I started celebrating because I saw the puck over the line. Why won't the NHL let their referees be accountable? That's what I
Okay,
want to know.
I got to
Why
stop.
couldn't you put the
Okay,
referees with a
hang
pool
on.
reporter and
We
say,
get it.
what did you see?
Okay, stop for a second. Okay. So this is the warm-up brought to you by Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel. This is the thing with Scruffy. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. So let me just walk this. There were 3 other games yesterday, and I kind of feel bad because I think I did my duty. I watched 8 hours of hockey beginning at 2 p.m.
Good
Eastern.
for you.
I went to bed. Well, I went to bed after the first period of the Oilers-Ducks game, knowing full well that there would be all kinds of drama and fireworks later on in the game, and this was it. And I got up today. So let me say this. Let me just walk this back for a second because we do have a lot of other things to talk about here today, like the NFL draft recap, Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, NBA playoffs, the Blue Jays. That's what we do here in the warm-up. But I'll say this, Mitch, as I try to walk the line here. This is what the NHL and all leagues hate for everything that you're right on everything you just said. Just so you know, I will back you. And I always have your back. But the leagues hate when they look bad and they know they look bad, and guys like you and me aren't allowed to. Guys like you and me, really nobody's allowed to say it. You know what I mean? Like you say, Knobloch saying it's not conclusive. I don't know how the coaches bite their lip at the podium after the games when they get screwed on calls like this. Which, by the way,
right?
The poll question for Country Thunder is: did the Oilers get hosed last night? The biggest party of the summer is coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Laney Wilson and Creed. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. But again, this is the NHL's fault. Like, this is what I don't understand. And maybe you can make sense of this for me. Because, again, I was in bed, purring, sleeping. Why is this all on the refs on the ice? That's what video replay is there for. Where was this call made that it was a good goal? Where was it made? In Toronto in a booth? Not the guys on the ice.
I believe it went to the Situation Room in Toronto. After, as I said, there was no goal call on the ice. The 4 referees then got together. The 2 refs, the 2 linesmen, they then got together. And they said it was a goal. Now, why they said it was a goal when nobody got a look at it, that's a great question, which takes me back to my accountability piece. So it goes to Toronto. And Toronto says, yeah, it's a goal. Now, like we see in football, had that been called no goal on the ice, I think it would have went to review and the same call would have been made. So what I want to know is the officials on the play, Francois Leroux, who is terrible and has been terrible before this game last night, and the other guy, I don't even know who he was. Where were you and what makes you say that was a goal? Because you were nowhere close to the net when the puck hit the goal line.
Well, okay.
So that's what I want to know. And I also want to know this. In this day and age, where in tennis, we can tell if a serve hits the line or not. Now in baseball, whether or not if the ball is a ball or a strike, why can't the NHL figure it out and do something to let us know if the puck is completely over the line? Because in these days of technology, it should be done.
These days with video replay. So by the way, like I say, that's the big story for everybody in our world. We do it every day. The big story, the first point of our Quick Six show topics, is the controversial game-winning goal last night, Anaheim over Edmonton. And if you can't tell, which they couldn't tell because of the skate, it shouldn't have been called a goal. And what's good for me is I don't cheer for anybody, or at least not in that series. I'm cheering for Tampa Bay against Montreal. You're an Oiler fan, and that's why I let you vent.
Right.
But you're not wrong. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong with any of what you said. But this is the point the problem with the leagues. This is horrible for the NHL because it makes them look bad, and everybody's standing there pointing the finger at each other. The guys on the ice, the guys at the booth in Toronto. Nobody will take credit for stand up and say, that's a goal, and this is why. When you say, should the referees speak to the media after the game, what would that ever even do? You're not the only guy saying that. A lot of people are saying, but so what? What are they going to say?
We deserve to know what their thought process is on that play. We can hear from the other guys from both teams, but we're not hearing from the guy that made the call. And that's the accountability factor there is what you need to have.
Okay. So we will take a timeout. We've got plenty to get to on this Monday. AJ Jakubec coming up from Ottawa. Later on in hour 2, previewing the CFL draft and looking back at the Senators season and all these Stanley Cup playoffs. We're just getting rolling. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV and WQVZ.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, well, we dipped our toe in it, and we could go on about this for hours, but as we say at the RP show, if you don't like what we're talking about, wait 2 minutes, we'll be talking about something else. Scruffy's with me here today, and yeah, the Quick Six Show topics and the warm-up are brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP show, and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports, trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Just one from a Lightning fan, Gold Bolt writes in watching on YouTube and says, Rod, which ref's job is it to decide the goal? It's the the referee on the goal line. You'd hope he's behind the net or on the goal line, but that's why they have goal judges. That's why they have video replay. I don't understand why this is all on the refs, but I'm with the Oiler fans on this one. They got screwed because the skate was covering the puck. Mitch, are you ready to move on? We can come back on this. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. NFL draft recap. There was no Mel Kiper meltdown. There was no drama like Shadir Sanders dropping from the top 3 to the 5th round, but there was a little bit of drama. My Dallas Cowboys were given a B- by USA Today's NFL coverage for their draft. I don't know what your Seahawks got. They say the biggest story was Sean McVay getting in a huff, the coach of the Rams, because they drafted a quarterback with the 13th overall pick, and how that might affect Matthew Stafford's mindset going into the 2026 NFL season. What was your NFL draft takeaways?
I thought the New York Jets did very well for themselves. A team that needs to do well for themselves. I thought they got a lot of value with what they did in the first 2 days. I didn't like the LA Rams pick of Ty Simpson. The LA Rams were a heartbeat away from maybe going to the Super Bowl and did nothing to improve themselves. And this has got nothing to do with Matthew Stafford. The call was made to Matthew Stafford saying, hey, we're going to get a quarterback, just so you know, and he was fine with that. When I take a look at some of, like, I thought Cleveland did a nice job, and they have to because they suck. Did anybody really besides the Rams? I know I brought it up in your Saturday column after the first, the first round. To me, I thought the Jets were one of the big winners, and I thought the Rams were one of the big losers.
USA Today gave the Jets the best grade. They were the only A+ coming out of the draft. But listening to NBC Sports Radio this morning, Florio and Sims were saying the only drama was the McVay thing that we're just talking about right now. And he explained that. He said he was acting on Thursday night when he was in a huff that they took Ty Simpson because he didn't want Matthew Stafford to be worried. But can I just say one thing? I just got to get this off my chest. Living here in Miami, I've told you about Joe Rose, right? I called him the Carm Carteri of South Florida. Played for the Dolphins. He does color on the radio. And he has a morning show. And every day I laugh so bloody hard. I'm putting this to you. He's so funny. My God, is he funny. Without meaning to be. And he was talking about this Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini stuff. And Vrabel, of course, missed the 3rd day of the draft because he went to counseling over being photographed with the Athletic reporter, who she's not even at the Athletic now. There's word she's going to sue the people that sold those photos to the New York Post. But Joe Rose said this morning to his co-host, Woody. He goes, do you think Belichick's getting a little pleasure out of this? Maybe a little. I laughed like that, too. I'm like, Joe, you can't say
I thought
that.
the same thing, actually, to tell you the truth.
Did you?
I actually...
Serious?
I actually sent a picture to a friend of mine who's a Patriots fan on the weekend saying, your new coach. And it was Bill Belichick with his squeeze beside him. Because,
oh, baby.
Do you think Robert
the
Kraft
Patriot
has phoned
way.
up Mike Vrabel and said, behave yourself?
Oh, my God. Well, and here, one more, because you'll get this. This is for more of a phone conversation you and I should have off the air, because I'm not sure how many people care besides you and me. But Joe was saying last week the Dolphins won't put any people on the show because on his show, and he's the color commentator, because he's been too critical of the Miami Dolphins. And he was like, whatever. And I'm like, what? I can't believe the stuff you say. I saw this coming. No,
have you met this guy?
The Dolphins won't. Pardon me?
Have you met Joe Rose?
No, I would love to, but he doesn't go to hockey games, and I don't go to Dolphins
Okay,
games.
I was going to say, you should get him on the program. I know you love the guy.
I love him. He's like that mythical figure you don't want to meet. You don't want to be disappointed. He is the biggest sports figure in South Florida, period.
Like
everybody will tell you that. Biggest personality. Yeah.
Like the guy you met at Sirius. I can't remember his name now.
Howard David.
Thank you. I was going to say Bob Papa, but I knew that wasn't right.
You're close, though. You're very close. Zig Fracassi was giving me a tour of the Sirius XM studios in New York. Oh, my God. Crotchety, grouchy old radio guy, Howard David. And he's like, hey, Rod, meet Howard David. He was the voice of the Dolphins. And he goes, and the Jets, and Monday Night Football. And I'm like, can I get a photo with you, Howard? He's like, if you must. I didn't care. Been raised around grumpy old radio guys. I became a grumpy old radio. I don't care if he wants to be an asshole. Whatever. Okay, moving on. I want to go point 3. The quick six show point would be Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, but we didn't get to the other series. Buffalo walked Boston 6-1, which, frankly, I wouldn't have been, I would have been down on that, but the game was so entertaining. Sabres go up 3-1. Zach Benson, who we all love from his Winnipeg Ice days, is literally half the size of Nikita Zadorov. Did you watch that game? And he came after Zadorov. Reminded of my little Yorkie. It was like my little Yorkie Fergus. He weighed 5 pounds. He used to fight St. Bernards and German Shepherds. He didn't care. That was Zach Benson yesterday.
Yeah, I turned that game on. It was 3-0, and Buffalo then made it 4-0. Like, the shots on goal were just obscene. In that first period, it's like, did Buffalo or did Boston even know that they were playing this afternoon? So then I sort of I switched over to Colorado, LA, but I just sort of would go back and forth. But Buffalo just destroyed Boston.
Wasn't even a game, but that's okay. Pause for 1 sec. John Ohm is watching in Winnipeg. He says, what about Howard Stern? Or how about Howard? Listen, when you go up to the Sirius XM, it's like the 54th floor of the office tower on the Avenue of the Americans in Manhattan. If you turn right when you get off the elevator, it's the whole Howard Stern compound. And when you turn left, it's the rest of the radio station, which, sorry, I don't know if I ever told you this, Mitch, but sorry to be a spoiler for everybody, but it's a radio station. That's all that it is. Studios on each side of the hall. You've been in a million of them. It's the same. But Stern, his whole wing. But it was over Christmas time that I was there, so Stern was off. There's a padlock on the door. And I said to Zig, can we go see Stern's studio? He's like, no. Stern, somebody went in there one time and left a wad of gum on his control board. He's like, that's it. I'm done. Nope. When I'm out, nobody gets in there. I'm like, hey, I get it. How many times in the Agardome when I was calling Pat's games, you were around, Rider games, somebody was fiddling with the damn board. Like, get out of here. People do that all the time. Why would you even come near our stuff?
Yep.
I get Stern. I didn't have a problem with that at all, would you?
Nope. I would not.
No. Now, producer Corey says the exact same thing. He wouldn't. Now, let me just continue this tour of the Stanley Cup playoffs Sunday night. Colorado beat LA. Was it 5-1? Doesn't matter. They completed the sweep. And then everybody's saying the Tampa Bay-Montreal series is the best series. I mean, I personally believe that. This is the one I'm most interested in. Would you go along? Is that the best series, Tampa-Montreal?
Yep. Boy, did Montreal let one get away last night. If they lose this series, they will look back at Game 4 as the reason why. Because, in such a close series, to be up 2-0 and gas that's one they may not be able to bounce back from. But, boy, I like the way the Canadians play. That's a great
Do you
series.
believe that?
And how about Brandon Hagel?
Do you believe? Oh, I know. Bagel. Do you believe, because I heard one pundit say this morning, I can't remember who it was, that was the Lightning's OG, their veteran experience that allowed them to come back and win Game 4? Is that on display for us there? Their veteran savvy that won them that game, do you think? Or just, if it wasn't that, what was it?
I think it plays a part of it, Rod. And I think if you go back and you look, I think the biggest goal of the hockey game for Tampa Bay was Jake Gitzel's goal with less than a minute to go in the second period. Because all of a sudden that put Montreal on their heels, and it was like, oh, we're one shot away from being tied. And then they take the penalty, and then they get the goal to tie it. But, if Gitzel doesn't score there, and it's a 2-0 game going into the third, I think it's a different mentality for Montreal, and maybe a different mentality for Tampa as well. But that goal sort of really, I thought, was the thing that sort of toppled over the Jenga board for the Canadians.
Every game's been one goal. 3 of them went to overtime.
Yep.
It has been fantastic.
Yeah, the thing, that series could be over in 4 straight if, somebody had the puck lock. But that's the way it's going.
Jeremy from the control room of Game Plus writes in. It's his birthday today. He says, have a great show today. Happy birthday, Jeremy, from the Game Plus studio in downtown Toronto. We'll get to everybody else here in a second. Jason in Red Deer writes in and says, Minnesota versus Dallas is a pretty good series. Listen, it's almost like a where were you moment. I'm watching the Minnesota-Dallas. I'm loving that series too. Loving it. But then Saturday night, settle in to watch Dateline. It's my favorite show. Highlight of my life is watching Dateline, especially a 2-hour episode. Those are heaven sent. 10 minutes in, breaking news. Beep, 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 beep. Assassination attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Right. I'm like, you're ruining you're halting Dateline for this? Where were you? Or do you care as much that there was a third attempt on the president's life Saturday night?
By the time I realized what was going on there, because ESPN did not break into coverage like what ABC did with the NBA, by the time I sort of saw what had happened and all the people talking about, oh, look at this and look at that, and, what's her name? His press secretary.
Wife?
Refer to her what you will.
Oh.
She goes, oh, this is going to be exciting. Shots are going to be fired today. Like, this was a scam. This was a scam right from the get-go.
I don't want to go down that road, but I will say this. I got a friend.
I'm going to go down that road. This was a scam right from the get-go.
That's fine. I have a friend who has TDS, and I called him. I said, are you in Washington tonight by chance? Did you go to Washington to... Because this guy gets serious TDS. Anyways, Brenton, Wellington, Florida writes in and says, no panic in Tampa's game at all. Experience is huge in the playoffs. Well, I think so. But let's go back to the Anaheim-Edmonton series. Who's the team with the experience there?
Right? I agree.
I know we have inside 2 minutes here to go, so we can't get too deep into that. But Ryan in upstate New York says not just Hagel, but Jake Gensel is having a really good series too. I thought Gensel was pretty quiet until he scored last night. I'm like, oh,
yeah, I agree.
There he is. Which, with Ryan or with me?
I agree with you. I didn't think that Gensel had that much of an impact in the series until last night.
No, and the power play for Tampa, which
hasn't been that great either.
Well, he's had he has not scored. He's had a million shots. He's firing it right into Dobish's heart or missing the net. Gensel isn't even getting the opportunities. Of course, these days you can go look up at the stats. I'm not Brent going. Florida Panthers fan Brent from Wellington, Florida says, bridesmaids. Come on, let's not start the week like this. Let's not get under Scruffy and the Oilers fans' skin, okay?
Are you going to ask AJ about Brady Tkachuk's future in Ottawa?
Ask him what?
About Brady Tkachuk's future in Ottawa?
Absolutely, I am. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask you about it when we come back after this break, and then AJ will join us from Ottawa. We'll talk about that after the break. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. We'll be right back in a moment. You're watching across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus Television.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lady Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We
position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Text line is open for Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge where the deals are real and the service is legendary. Our hockey report is brought to you by the Mad Greek Eatery. Whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites, make it the Mad Greek Eatery tonight. Open until 11 p.m. I can't wait to get there. Scruffy, don't let you get out of here before we make picks on tonight's NHL games. But did you happen to see, do you watch Good Morning America by chance on television?
No.
Probably not, huh?
No.
Okay. Ron Duguay was on it this morning, and but did anybody see Ron Duguay? I feel terrible because he texted me and asked me to watch it, and then I didn't see it. He said he was on this morning, but Dukes is going through aggressive cancer treatments. He's got stage 4. And I don't know if you follow Duguay on Twitter and Instagram or not, but I said, Dukes, you look, forgive me for saying, but incredible for a guy that's been through what you've been through. The great Ron Duguay. And he says, I know. It's gotten me and the doctors completely puzzled. But anyway, he's coming through it as well as possible, stage 4, and that's Ron Duguay. We're all praying for him. He's such an unbelievable guy. Okay, you wanted me to ask AJ Jakubec next hour from TSN Ottawa about Brady Tkachuk. But I'll ask you, captain of the Sens, 0 points in round 1. Actually, we should talk about Ridley Gregg too, but before we do that, my thinking is Tkachuk is still all that. He can't do it alone. And there's a lot of teams who would take him off the Senators' hands if they don't want him. But that's just me. You?
I agree. The question I have is, what is Brady Tkachuk's contract status in Ottawa right now?
He's got a few more years, I believe. I know he's got a few more years.
Does he have a few more years or just 2 more years? Because if he's got 2 more years, I think you have to take a serious look at this. Brady Tkachuk's a good hockey player. I don't care what anybody says. But there are teams out there, and I'll just throw this out there. If the Ottawa Senators and the St. Louis Blues got on the phone, I could see Brady Tkachuk going to St. Louis and Robert Thomas in a package going to Ottawa. Because we know Robert Thomas's name was dangled at the trade deadline, and there's something not right there between Thomas and the Blues. And I think Thomas is going to get moved in the offseason. We know about Brady's, St. Louis with his dad, stuff like that. I think Brady could be moved, but it's only at the right price and package. And I think right now St. Louis has a pretty good trade chip in Robert Thomas to maybe do that.
Well, he's got 2 years left at $8.2 million per year.
Okay.
But again, why would you move him? Why would you move him unless the media forces him out of Ottawa?
You're right. I think this is more of a media fan-driven thing because of his country. I don't think this has got anything to do with his play. Was he terrible in the playoffs? Yeah, he was. But he wasn't the only one. Like, Carolina scored 11 goals in those 4 games. One of them was in double overtime. Like, Ottawa had no fight in that series. None. They were terrible. Yes, injuries to their blue line didn't help. But Brady Tkachuk isn't the reason why they lost that series.
No, exactly.
But you're right. But I think the Senators have to have a hard conversation with themselves internally as to what Brady Tkachuk's future is with that team. And I think Brady wants to stay, despite all the crap that he went through this year, and despite all the crap the Senators went through this year. I think Brady wants to stay, and I think part of the reason for that is he wants to show people, you know what? My brother can do it, so can I. But I think Ottawa has to have a long conversation with themselves to see if he is the answer. And if he is, then make the investment. If not, then I think you better deal him in the offseason.
Let's put it this way. I see no reason why Ottawa wouldn't want to keep him. I can see many reasons why he would want to look elsewhere. You mentioned St. Louis. My God, they're dying to get him here in Florida and match him up with his brother. Those two would be a wrecking crew. I don't think they have the money here to do it, but I would not be moving on from Brady Tkachuk. That's for damn sure. And then the Ridley Gregg thing. I can't remember the name of the guy that he suckered on Saturday. I mean, I want to say that I'm desensitized to it because I
Sean Walker.
Okay. Whatever. Nobody can remember. Doesn't matter. What matters to him? But it was a gloved sucker. Like I watched the game. I'm like, this, whatever. Dirty, but it wasn't a bare knuckle sucker punch like we've also seen a million times. And I understand that's 80s and 90s stuff. I'm a little surprised at the Ray Ferraros and the Kelly Rudies that came up from that era too, that they just want this guy drawn and quartered and shot at 32 paces. I'm like, wasn't that bad? We're this era
Even
now.
the tough guys,
and they're not the only two.
Like, Biz wants him slaughtered too. And you know what? I've never been a Ridley Gregg fan. I think he's an annoying little puke. I've thought that from his days with the Brandon Wheat Kings. Feel the same way about Mark Stone, but he's not as bad. But you just can't do that, man. Like, that's 5 games. That's 5 games. If he's not being, if that's just a punch when he's not being held back by somebody, then fine. That's a hockey play. That was gutless, man. That was just gutless by Ridley Gregg. I'm sorry. That's 5 games.
And it is. None of that is, well, it's gutless, but I think a fine would suffice, but that's just me. Jason in Red Deer writes in and says, no disputing the Tkachuks are good players, but it's nice to see the two big mouths out of the NHL playoffs. I'm ready for a break from them too. I mean, Brent's writing here from Wellington, Florida. I was at his house on Friday night, and it's like everywhere you look around here, you see Matthew Tkachuk. It's like, guy, take a break. Oh my God. Rest. I don't think he knows how. It's impressive. He's everywhere. Billboards, radio ads, TV ads, in your phone, you name it. Matthew Tkachuk is everywhere in South Florida.
It's a good thing.
By the way, since we're sitting here, John in Edmonton writes in and he says, Gary Bettman's probably happy that another Canadian team's almost out of the playoffs.
Oh,
I don't know whether that's true. Yep, I don't believe that. But the ratings are the highest they've been in 14 years, and that's just in round one. Like, we're on the way to these maybe being the highest ratings ever. Well, I asked last week why that is, and people said it's a combo of things. The NBA sucks, but also they said the USA winning the gold medal in the Olympics. And I mean, I don't know because I'm watching all the hockey anyways. I don't know. And to be honest, my friends aren't watching it at all. So I don't know why the ratings are up. I don't know.
I saw an article, and I wish I could go back and find it because I know you brought this up. I think it was last week. Every network, every event And something has changed, and I don't know if it's streaming or what it is. But every event now, it's the most highest watched game or whatever. Like, sorry, people. Like, people aren't sitting by their TVs 24/7 watching everything. And I'm expecting the numbers for the NFL draft to come out today. And they'll say, oh, it was the most watched draft ever. You know, and like the NBA, they just put something out as bad as what the NBA's been. They put something out last week saying, oh, it was the most watched season, you know, and on TNT and here and Amazon Prime. And it's like, I'm not going to say these numbers are being fudged, but I read an article somewhere about a month ago saying that there's a reason why this is happening. And I think it has something to do with the fact that, like, people watching on their phones now instead of their TVs, like, they're adding that. I'd have to see if I can go back and find it.
You know what? I don't believe the numbers either, but I'm not willing to go look up and prove that they're wrong. What you can't fake is 320,000 people at round one of the NFL draft and over 800,000 throughout the entire weekend in Pittsburgh. You saw it.
Right.
That ain't fudged. That ain't fudged. So somehow or another, the NFL continues to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we didn't get to the CFL draft talk today. I wanted to, but we can do that tomorrow because the draft isn't until tomorrow. I know. Don't get me going. I'll get to the rest of these texts from the viewers coming back after the break. 50 seconds, Mitch. The last word is yours. Anything else you want to get off your chest?
Well, you just talked about the NFL and, you know, how they've got it, how they seem to know what's going on. Funny how in the NFL, their officials will talk to pool reporters about controversial calls, but the National Hockey League just refuses to let their officials talk about the calls that they make for events like last night.
Okay. Well, tomorrow we'll pick up on this. I'll say, what would you ask? You mentioned that earlier. What were you thinking? I made a mistake. I blew it. Would that make you happier? We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Scruffy's out of here. Let's talk about him. The Daily Poll brought to you by Country Thunder. The biggest party of the summer coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Laney Wilson and Creed. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. Just $20 down secures your weekend pass. I'm fascinated with the results of the poll. The poll question is, did the Edmonton Oilers get hosed in Game 4 on the game-winning goal? It's 50-50. This literally split between Oilers fans and non-Oilers fans. But I'm going to tell you right now, I mentioned this off the top of the show. I guess a lot of you are watching because you do like the inside stuff. And I'm not giving you too much inside stuff, but I give you enough to keep you all coming back every day. And what I can tell you is that this situation is what the leagues hate. They hate it because they stepped in it themselves. And anybody that points that out, they don't like it. So if you're asking me what I think, I will vote and say, yes, they got hosed. And the beautiful thing is I don't care who wins the series. I don't care at all. Anaheim versus Edmonton. If you can't see the goal across the line, period, because there's a skate over top of it, then you can't count it a goal. And they counted it a goal. Seems open and shut to me. Now, having said all of that, we were talking about the TV ratings, and Scruffy was right when he said, why is every league this is the highest ever, this is the that ever. Vancouver Eric writes in and says, Scruffy nailed it. Scott in Vancouver writes in, he says, I wonder if they include the bar numbers, a place that can hold multiple TVs. Vancouver Eric also says the leagues report more than just TV ratings, all platforms. Now, but none of it matters. It's BS. But here's the difference, and it's allowing me to sleep at night a hell of a lot better. It's just go with it. And I'll give you proof. I've been sitting in press boxes where the owner stomps down the stairs. I'm not going to say where. In the press box. What's the attendance? Oh, I was just about to announce it. 12,316. Add 20%. Stomps away. And I'm like, but this is what it is. So this is whatever. Throw a number up in the air. And that's what they do. But here's the thing. I think the NFL's been doing it for ages. And it's got it to the point where coming out of this weekend, I mean, who cares about the NFL draft? We don't know who these players are. Largely, we don't. 850,000 people showed up. Almost, the population of Manitoba showed up in Pittsburgh for the NFL draft live. And they're showing up with campers. But that's the whole idea with the hype. So whatever. I don't even, as they say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. When the leagues screw up, like that call last night, Edmonton, Anaheim, you can sit and bang on them all you want. Like Scruffy goes, make the referee available. What would you ask him? Seriously. Okay, we screwed up. I'm sorry. It's kind of like, what do I say every day here? I'm watching all the leagues because trust me, I am. I get all the emails from all the leagues. And then in the NLL on Saturday night, a one-game quarterfinal showdown, San Diego, Colorado. The league has to send out a statement the next day to say the game-winning goal shouldn't have counted. Great. I was literally sitting in the office of Alan Ford. I want to say 1998. The general manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, he showed me a letter that he got from the CFL admitting they blew a call. He's like, what am I supposed to do with their wallpaper, the walls, with my collection of these? What do you want? The thing that I don't get and will never get is you got the 4 refs on the ice, you got video replay in the rink, and you got video replay in Toronto, and you still screw it up. That's what I don't get. And when they say, we just want to get it right. No, you don't. No, you don't. Which reminds me, yeah, the junior hockey, I'm following that too. Well, speaking of that, Bob writes in from Medicine Hat. Good morning, Rod. Back watching your show this morning. Bob from Medicine Hat. Have a great day. Will from Steinbach, Manitoba writes in. He says, hi, Rod and Scruffy. I think it was a goal over the line. When did the whistle blow it dead? We're not going to sit here and solve it today. And again, if the NHL were to do what the NLL did and the next day say, oh, we screwed it up. We were wrong. They just won't say anything at all and hope that we all move on. That's kind of what they're hoping. So, with the junior, total sidestep out of everything else we normally talk about. But I'm following it. My old team, the PA Raiders, against the Medicine Hat Tigers. The East Conference Finals 1-1. And did you see this? Medicine Hat Tigers have some players that like to do a prayer circle after the game. And after game 2, the Raiders came out because it was in their rink, and they stood on the logo at center ice and said, you're not going to do your prayer on our center ice circle. So they went down the ice and prayed together. I wouldn't mess with God. That's all I'm going to say. I'm cheering for PA, but guys, don't mess with God. That's all. Consider yourself warned. Carlos in Indiana writes in, he says, when the refs get the calls wrong, crowds tend to bust out the tinfoil and claim these games are rigged. But don't. But if they're not rigged, then don't feel bad about it because they are not rigged. That part you can't worry about. But here's another one for you. I have this written down. You'll like this, Carlos in Indiana. I spent all day Saturday on a football field in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at Cardinal Gibbons High School. Well, I went half the day, actually. I was on the field for half of it and then up in the press box for half of it where it was air-conditioned. And for the first time in my life, I had a wireless microphone. I'm like, well, this is cool. I can go down on the field and actually announce from there. Oh, my God. But then it got too hot. I'd go back up into the AC. The referees did not have that ability. And you're all going to say, oh, but the players and coaches wrote it. No. There were 3 pools of 7-on-7 high school football, the highest level of football at that age group, and it was called the Battle for Broward County. And so there was 6 teams in one pool. They all played, then they left. Then 6 more teams came in, they played, and then they left. And then 6 more teams came. The refs were out there all day in the Florida heat. And I'm like, it was hot, and it's not even hot yet. You know what I'm saying? It's April. And so by the end, I'm sitting there saying to the ref, they're like, 1 minute to go, because there's like multiple games going on, so we couldn't use the one scoreboard. So I said to the one ref, is that 1 minute and a half or the game? He's like, I don't know. And then the other refs, they have the elastic bands on their fingers, first down, second down, third down. Guy got lost what track of downs it was. Get that man some Gatorade. And then the coaches are getting mad for good reason because it's a pretty big deal. It's the Battle for Broward, after all. So it's just funny in all the sports, from 7-on-7 high school spring league to the National Hockey League. You better get the calls right. And that's why I don't want to sit here and bang on the NHL because, as I said earlier, they don't like to have their mistakes pointed out. Who does? Who does? From Mr. Ferguson, new viewer, Mr. Ferguson writes that he says, I think as far as HOSED goes, I believe the 1999 Buffalo Sabres and the 2004 Calgary Flames got hosed. Well, listen, do you want me to sit here and explain that? 1999, my dad was on the staff of the Dallas Stars. That's his mask over my shoulder. The rule book said you can be in the crease if you don't impede the play. Brett Hull had his toe in the crease. Didn't have anything to do with the game-winning goal. That, you can't sit and rewrite history or even explain something to people that don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear it. That goal stood. It was a fine goal by Brett Hull in the 1999 Stanley Cup Final. And in 2004, yes, the puck did go across the line, but they didn't have the benefit of video replay at the time to the degree that they do now. And I spent all that time in Calgary a few years back, and that 2004 comes up every single day. You're not wrong. In that case, you're not wrong. The goal did cross the line. They said it didn't, but they didn't have the technology at the time. Vancouver Eric writes, then he says, every league makes mistakes. Remember this day, CFL fans. I'd be interested to know what specifically you're referring to for the CFL fans, because they're no different than any other league. In this case, the NHL botched that overtime. They botched it, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. If I was an Edmonton fan or media or Oiler person, I would be, but I'm not. Let me do a quick sports update. Scotty Barnes hit the go-ahead free throw in the final minute and finished with 23 points. Brandon Ingram also scored 23, and the Toronto Raptors beat the visiting Cleveland Cavaliers 93-89 Sunday, tying the NBA's Eastern Conference first-round playoff series at 2 games each. Series shifts to Cleveland for Game 5 Wednesday. The Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series with the Boston Red Sox tonight at Rogers Center. I was going to say Skydome. Toronto took 2 of 3 games from Cleveland over the weekend. Righty Dylan Cease goes to the mound for Toronto, while lefty Ranger Suarez starts for Boston. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Also, Suds. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. And AJ Jakubec joins us from Ottawa in Hour 2, brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, a barn, a rink, or commercial space? Maybe you want to upgrade? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 306-985-0050. Coming out of the weekend, it's always hot, right? It's always good, and we'll continue that when we come back in Hour 2, and welcome all of the Nevada viewers. For now, you're watching across Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, podcast, and, of course, WQVZ Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
All aboard, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show train. Hop on for the next hour of fun sports talk. It's actually hour 2 of the show, and we had so much energy going on in hour 1. It's got to carry over into hour 2. There we're on Game Plus TV, and we still are, but we're welcoming our U.S. viewers across the Silver State of Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. They say that the Raiders are coming off their biggest draft in franchise history, and maybe it was, I don't know, but we're here talking hockey today. The ratings debate came up in hour 1 that the NHL is enjoying its highest ratings in 14 years in America, and I think the way it's going, the way the hockey's been so great, the way the series are going, they may be on their way to having their best ratings ever. Pretty good for a guy like me that likes to sit here and talk hockey. And now that I think about it, coming up in the interview segment today, AJ Jakubec will be joining us. AJ Jakubec will be joining us from TSN Radio Ottawa. I'm excited to talk to AJ. He's my favorite Ottawa broadcaster, longtime friend, definitely my favorite broadcaster, and actually all of Eastern Canada. I'm going to not lie about that. But he's also the voice of the Ottawa Redblacks of the Canadian Football League. Their draft is Tuesday night. And what I love about the U.S. viewers is they enjoy the Canadian sports talk. It's different. It's rare. But also, so too is the hockey talk. I'm going to change things up a little bit from hour 1 in terms of the rotation of the Quick Six show topics. It's all brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel and Neil Chark, the preferred travel partner of the Rod Pedersen Show and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. We haven't even talked about the Monday night games in the NHL yet because we got all hung up on Sunday's 4-game slate, which is fine. But there are 2 games tonight, and I said to Scruffy, don't let us get out of hour 1 without getting your picks, and then we got out of hour 1 without getting his picks. But tonight in the NHL, there are only 2 games. Philadelphia at Pittsburgh, Vegas at Utah. Flyers lead 3-1. Mammoth lead 2-1. I'm going to save my picks till later on in the hour. So, Scruffy, if you're watching now, you still have time to send yours in. Of all these series, I want to say the most entertaining from a sheer drama perspective is Philly-Pittsburgh. Battle of Pennsylvania. I've watched every game, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, the drama of Sidney Crosby getting poked in the eye with a stick and dropping to the ice and getting the first diving call of his 21-year history and all that. That series right there, Philly-Pittsburgh has had the most just crazy stuff going on. From a sheer hockey standpoint, Montreal-Tampa Bay has been the best series. 4 games, all decided by 1 goal each. They've all been 1-goal games. 3 of them have been in overtime. That's been amazing. And as you can see by my banner here, the Bring the Thunder, that came straight from the arena in Tampa Bay. I'm cheering for the Lightning. I don't care. But having said all that, if Montreal won, I would be just as happy. I mean, I was driving home Friday night, listening on the radio to the Game 3 of Tampa-Montreal, and they carried the sound. Lane Hudson scored the winner for Montreal. And that public address announcer in Montreal, how can you not be happy for these people? Mesdames et messieurs, le premier étoile de les Canadiens de Montreal, Lane Hudson. Horn goes, I'm like, oh my God. They take it so seriously in Montreal. They love it so much. Now, if they lose to the Lightning, that'd be great for me. Keeps my podcast rolling. It's a business thing. But I got a lot of Montreal fans, and they're great people, and that's been an unbelievable series, too. It's all been great. But let me just walk this back. I mentioned the 2 games tonight. I haven't really got into the Vegas-Utah series, and I'm not going to wait. We're going to do the switch right now. Ta-da! I'm cheering for Vegas in this series, but they got to pull their socks up. We talked last week with Jeff Chikrin about the rebuild that the Utah Mammoth underwent. He called it the most painful rebuild in history. How would anybody know? Nobody was paying attention to the Coyotes. Trust me, I was around that team forever. I'm like, where's all the media? My friend was the owner. I was there a lot over a number of years. I'm like, this is pathetic. They underwent a rebuild. Nobody knew. And Vegas clearly didn't know either. So we'll see how this all turns out. But correct me if I'm wrong. And for the viewers, you will correct me right now. You can write in 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line, or the YouTube chat. What has been the biggest story of these playoffs? I know what I think that it is, but I'm not so thick-headed that I can't accept what you might think it would be. To me, it's the fact that playoff experience has meant nothing so far. When you look at the upstart Utah Mammoth, the upstart Buffalo Sabres, the upstart Anaheim Ducks, they all have series leads. Montreal did until Tampa Bay came back and won Sunday night in Game 4, the second game in Montreal, and the series is 2-2 going back to Tampa. And there are pundits saying that was their playoff experience that won it for them. So maybe the pendulum's starting to swing back the other way. But for the opening 2-3 games, playoff experience didn't mean diddly squat. There you go again for you, producer Corey. Diddly squat. Rears his ugly head. Buffalo 6, Boston 1 on Sunday, which is with a quadruple header of games in the NHL on Sunday. This is how much hockey I watched. When your TiVo says, are you still there? Yeah, I'm here. I've just been watching hockey all day. Not changing the channel. It's been fantastic. Oh, and we haven't really even got to the biggest story coming out of Sunday's games, and what leads into our poll question today. For the uninitiated, i.e. those that were not watching in hour one, maybe you didn't have the ability, the game-winning goal of the latest game Sunday night was the Anaheim Ducks over the Edmonton Oilers. Disputed goal. The ref and the video replay couldn't decide if the puck went completely over the goal line because the goalie's skate was over top of it. They ruled it a goal for Anaheim. They win the game and go up 3-1. And now Edmonton goes home facing elimination and everybody's upset. Yeah, there's the elementary stuff. We got a very, very smart viewers writing in here, like Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in and he says the Oilers should have had it decided before overtime. You're right, but they didn't. And they're complaining about this goal, and they did get hosed. They got hosed. And that's the poll question. Did the Oilers get hosed? For Country Thunder, Saskatchewan, they bring you the poll question every day. The biggest party this summer is coming to Craven, Saskatchewan this summer, July 9th through the 12th, and we're going to be there too, along with Lainey Wilson and Creed. The only shocking thing to me is the results are 50-50. 50-50. Whether the Oilers got hosed or not, that just tells you how many people hate the Edmonton Oilers. Hang on. Great comments coming in from the viewers, and I did ask for them, so yes. But I'm just saying, what is the biggest story been of these Stanley Cup playoffs? For me, it's that playoff experience hasn't meant a damn thing. But as I said last hour, and we're airing now in a lot of NHL markets, New Jersey, New York, Texas, Vegas, California. The NHL botched this one. I don't care what the rule book says. What do they say? Do what's right versus doing the right thing. Do what's right. It's a fine line. The goal shouldn't have counted. You couldn't see that it was over the line. End of story. But the NHL and all of these leagues don't like people like me pointing it out. Even the coaches themselves aren't allowed to say it after games, or they get fined. So I'm not going to say it. I will say they botched the call, but that's all I'm willing to say, because nobody likes having their mistakes pointed out. Not at all. I know I don't. Okay, Shane's watching in Brant. Shane. He says, Habs, all without their top line doing anything at 5-on-5. Go, Habs, go. And Shane says, oh, my stars. That's awesome. Hey, Rod, Mallard wants his sweater back. You had me for a second, and then I just realized you're talking about Darren Millard, whose nickname is Mallard. I gotcha, the host of Vegas Golden Knights television. Who's been on this show, Shane? Did you watch it? Paul in Humboldt writes in. Thank you, Paul. He says, the value of playoff experience shows up in Game 7. And I appreciate you saying that, because I wanted to make it very clear when I said, so far, playoff experience hasn't meant anything. But for the pundits that say experience won Game 4 for Tampa, they might be right. But as we all jump to conclusions fast in sports, that's just the way that it goes. So point 1 and 3 were Stanley Cup playoffs coming out of the weekend and tonight. Greg in Calgary writes in, hey, Greg, Western Dodge text line. He says, hey, Rod, you had Carolina sweeping Ottawa. Good call. I did. He says, I thought one angle showed the entire puck over the line. I don't know what angle that would have been. I didn't see that angle. I mean, was the puck over the line? Yes. If we were to get those calipers out that they use in curling, that would have decided it. That would have decided it, but we don't have that in hockey. Maybe they should. Kirk writes in. Where is Kirk at? He is in the Bridge City. The Oilers-Ducks game was very poorly officiated before that terrible call in overtime that sunk Edmonton. But the Oilers have given up too many power play goals against and just have not played consistently good at all this series. Well, what's great about AJ Jakubec, who's joining us next, is he's in Ottawa, voice of the Red Blacks, covers the Senators, but he's from Edmonton. So he'll have a take on all of this, and it'll be good. David in Winnipeg, David number 2, writes in. He says, hey, good morning, Rod. If the skate was on the other foot and the Oilers would have won on a similar call, I bet Scruffy would not be complaining. Well, there's that. There is that. But that's why I'm allowing it. We have a lot of Oiler fan viewers. Brad in Winnipeg writes in. He says, Arlen Bruce comments on this show all the time. How about getting Arlen as a guest? We had Arlen on 2 weeks ago. Look it up. BW and it was amazing, by the way. It was really good. His favorite city to play, favorite road stadium, was Commonwealth in Edmonton. Who threw him his first touchdown pass? He doesn't remember. Might be the best part of that whole interview. Who threw you your first touchdown pass in Skyrim, Marla? I don't know. Said he was going to look it up. I bet he didn't. BW in Edmonton says, G'day, RP. One person is responsible for the Oilers being down 3-1. Woody. Woodcroft. Ex-Oilers coach on the Ducks coaching staff. Well, maybe. Joel Quenneville, I think, has a little bit to do with that, too. 111. Thank you for pointing that out, Carlos in Indiana. 111 for those that observe. Where'd John Ohm go, by the way? He was here. There were apparently other sports going on this weekend. That's what they tell me. The NFL draft, I enjoyed I just enjoyed the coverage of it. I've enjoyed the post coverage coming out of it, i.e. the New York Jets were deemed to have won it. They were given an A+ by USA Today's NFL coverage. So sometimes I wonder why I pay for a subscription to the USA Today, and then days like today remind me They had winners and losers of the draft, grading the draft. I'm pretty sure this writer had no clue who these players were, to the degree that the scouts did. So he would have conferred with the scouts and said the New York Jets won the draft with an A+. Dallas Cowboys were given a B-. We'll take it. And don't get me going on about the Cowboys. That's why I was not real big on the draft. I kind of sit back and wonder why so many Americans are so big into the draft. And you guys don't know who these players are either. But then I realized that you sit back and you look at who they did select. And does it fit in with what you need? That is exciting. But this morning on the radio as I was driving to the gym, I'm listening to WQAM as I always do. Joe Rose and his crew, the former Dolphins tight end, current color guy, and has a morning radio show. You talk about how talent slits in with the picks. They're like, we need talent at every position. Every position needs an upgrade. And I'll tell you another thing. Joe's older than me, but I don't know how he didn't see this coming because I did. He said that the Miami Dolphins won't put guests on his show anymore because he's been too critical of them. And I'm like, well, no kidding. I was like, I can't believe you get on a plane with these guys. With what he says. He didn't care. Now here we are. I don't need to hear the Dolphins on his show. I just want to listen to Joe. And the other funny thing is he was talking about the Vrabel stuff, and he's just like, do you think Bill Belichick is getting a little bit of enjoyment out of this? To which I broke out laughing at the red light. By the way, a big week here on the RP Show. AJ Jakubec coming in next from TSN Radio Ottawa. Tuesday, Alan May, my dear friend, Washington Capitals television analyst, longtime NHLer, mostly with the Caps. Wednesday, Steve Simmons from the Toronto Sun, Hall of Fame writer, and the last great of the dying. He's the last of the Mohicans of the columnists that'll just rip the hell out of the teams and not care. For him to do covering the Leafs from South Florida. He lives just down the road from me, Steve Simmons. I can't believe we waited this long to make this happen. Brady Tkachuk is an American from St. Louis, and he's the captain of the Ottawa Senators. And we're going to get into that with AJ Jakubec when he joins us next. Tuesday is also the CFL draft, and his Red Blacks have the #1 overall pick. So we'll talk about that and how the 22nd overall pick in the NFL draft was from Ottawa. Hakeem Messidor, the Miami Hurricanes. It's really, for those of us that are into it, it's very interesting how the two leagues and drafts overlap. If you're into it. We got a lot of things to get to with AJ when we come back. You're watching the RP Show across Nevada on Silver State Sports and, as always, across Canada and 33 states on the Game Plus television network, also YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
The Hockey Report is for the Mad Greek. Experience authentic Greek flavors right in the jaw at the Mad Greek Eatery. Check them out tonight. Okay, AJ Jakubec joins us from TSN Ottawa. We can talk about a variety of things. Hey, bud, good to see you. We should start with the big story before we get to Ottawa sports. Was it in? Was it not in? You're an Oiler guy. What was your take on the winner in Game 4, Oilers-Ducks?
Well, I was arguing with a lot of my buddies from back in Edmonton because, as much as I wanted that to be no goal, look, I don't like the process. Do I think one of the referees actually saw it in the first place? No, I don't. I don't at all. So the process was completely flawed. I get it. But look, I mean, I flunked geometry in high school, but even I can figure out that the puck was over the line. I didn't need the skate to be removed. Like, we need goal line technology. Why is it so difficult to put a chip in a puck when they put one in a tennis ball and a football and a soccer ball and all these different other sports that use goal line technology? To me, you'd like to know if it's a goal or not from what you see from a camera, but from what a chip is in a puck. But nonetheless, I think bigger problems for the Edmonton Oilers. They've been second best in this series. Clearly, they've got a lot of players that are not playing at 100%, and that's affecting them. But Anaheim's a good hockey team, and they're going to be a good team for a good decade plus. So we'll see if they can come back. But they have been second best in that series, and I think Anaheim is full value for their 3-1 series lead.
Okay, well, I appreciate the honesty. That's why you're on here. That's why people love you. But I'll sit back and go, how could you say it was in? You couldn't see that it was it. You said geometry. You talking about that radius thing, like the caliper they have in curling? If you went around,
yeah,
the puck,
I mean,
you couldn't see it.
Does the puck jut out, or is the puck a complete circle? Like, I think we all know it was in.
Okay.
Like there's
okay. I got to write that
no
down.
way that puck wasn't in.
Okay. I think we all know. I'm just writing that down. You're not afraid of what they're going to say to you in Edmonton, in your hometown, after saying this, right? Are you?
Look, I want them to win. I want them, now that Ottawa's out, I want them to win a Stanley Cup more than anything. I want Connor McDavid to win a Stanley Cup. They need to be better. Simple as that. Stop blaming the process. Be better. Go out, win Game 5. Go from there. That puck, we all know that puck was over the line. We all know it. Like, unless the line is painted crooked or the puck suddenly had like a jagged edge, like that puck was in the net. So, like, was it a bad break because the refs were flawed? The refs were flawed. We all know the refs were flawed in their process. Like, we all know no no referee actually thought that was a goal in the first place. But they came to the right conclusion in the end, as flawed as the process was. So I'm not going to sit here and lose my mind over something when they were second best in the game, and when I'm 99.99999% sure that that puck was in the net. So sorry, like, go out, be better in game 5, and if you're not, regroup, heal. It actually might not be the worst thing in the world if the Edmonton Oilers are knocked out in 5 or 6 games and they get a whole summer to heal, rest, regroup, improve the roster a little bit, and get everyone ready to go next year. Kind of like the Florida Panthers. It's tough to just go to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row and bring the same juice for the third year, especially when you've had 2 condensed schedules and all your top players have been playing Olympics and 4 nations. So best thing for this group might be, like, and I know it's hard to say, I still want them to win game 5. I still want them to find a way to turn this series around, but it might be a blessing in disguise if they have a short playoff. I tell you what, it won't be good for this franchise if they go 3-4 rounds again, lose, and then come back a banged up, tired team physically and mentally going into next season. I'll tell you that.
If we have time, I'll get to all these viewers' comments. We got a million here, but we have a lot to get to with you. So the Sens got swept out on Saturday. What do you think is the future for Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa, short term and long term?
$1 million question. I honestly don't know. I mean, we've been hearing these rumors for 6 years that eventually he was going to go to the United States. So kind of been preparing for it for a long time, but he's been an Ottawa Senator for 8 years. I think he genuinely likes the city and the franchise and his teammates and all that type of stuff. I think that's genuine. But, I think, and this goes for Connor Hellebuck and Austin Matthews and some of the other guys that won gold, that were hailed as heroes back in the United States. And then, you got the political situation the way it was. And of course, Canadian fans were probably not that thrilled that they lost that gold medal game. So I'm sure there's a little bit of him, if not a lot of them. I mean, I don't really know, that probably thought, well, what if it was me skating around for an American team as a hero with the Team USA flag when I got back from the Olympics? So I don't know how much that's going to play into all this. So over the course of the next couple of months, he's got 2 years left on his contract. But I mean, you kind of have to have an answer of where it's headed, because the Vancouver Canucks, they kind of knew that Quinn Hughes wanted out 2 years before, and they signed a bunch of guys, and all of a sudden, in the hopes of a miracle, in the end, the miracle didn't happen, and now they bottomed out to the worst team in the league. I don't think Ottawa would be the same. They've got Stützle and Sanderson, for me, are their 2 best players, and Brady Tkachuk is number 3. But so there's still a lot to build with here, but I think you need to know where his heart is and where this is all headed within the next couple of years. So it could be a very interesting offseason, to say the least.
How'd you think his playoff was, considering he was pointless in 4 games?
Kind of like his season, just okay. I think for whatever reasons, I don't know if it was distractions. I mean, the thumb injury certainly hampered him for a long time. He likes to play a physical game, and I think it hampered him not being able to go out and fight when he wanted to, and do some of the things that he needs to do to be Brady Tkachuk, right? Not everyone needs to fight. I don't think he needs to fight either, especially in today's NHL, but he likes to get his team going sometimes. So I think that hampered him at times this season. But yeah, I mean, it was average at best in the playoffs. We'll see. As again, there's a lot of distractions with this team. It was a tumultuous season here with everything that went on, and the leave of absence and rumors, and involving Linus Ullmark and everything that happened in and around Christmas. And then you had, again, Brady Tkachuk coming back after the Olympics, dealing with questions that I think are fair, but you're not going to get those in an American market. So there's a lot that went into this season, and I don't know how much factored into his play, but the reality is, and look, Tim Stützle had a better season than Brady Tkachuk. He was average in this series as well. They got 1 point from their 2 best forwards. That's why they lost this series. I thought Tim Stützle needed to be the best player in this series for the Ottawa Senators going in, and he had 1 point. It doesn't, not for a lack of effort. He wants to win more than anything, but give Carolina some credit too. I mean, that's the best I've ever seen the Carolina Hurricanes play. I mean, obviously, I know you got the Cats and Bolts podcast. I mean, last year they got pushed around. They got embarrassed, in particular in Game 3 against the Florida Panthers. And the Carolina Hurricanes set out from Game 1, from Jordan Stahl's fight with Brady Tkachuk to like running everything that moved. They didn't have a shot on goal in the first 12 minutes because they were running everything that moved. So Carolina looks like a better version of themselves. Time will tell. They still need to get to a Stanley Cup final to truly get over the hump because they've always won this first round series. They're now 11-7 under Rod Brindamore, but I give Carolina a lot of credit as well because they took away time and space from Ottawa's top players, and with how aggressive they were on the penalty kill in particular, Ottawa's power play was a disaster. So Carolina deserved to win this series. Hey, there was a controversial no goal in this series that went against Ottawa, which I don't even think it was a goal, by the way. And it wasn't counted a goal. And in the end, you didn't win Game 1. You lost a heartbreaker. To me, the best game of the playoffs was Game 2, that double overtime game. It had everything, but Carolina was just a little bit better in all aspects, and they deserve to be going on.
We will come back to Stanley Cup playoffs in a second, but I'm sure you saw the 2027 NFL Draft will be in Washington, D.C. That's your team. You've thought about going, haven't you?
No, I'm not. You know what? I like the NFL Draft and love the NHL Draft, especially, when I was doing junior hockey. It's really cool to see where these guys go. I can say I was at the Akeem Mesidor draft party. Of course, he was down in your neck of the woods, helping the Miami Hurricanes almost beat Indiana in the national championship game. That was a really cool experience. First ever Canadian defensive player to go in the first round of the NFL draft, and he's going to the Chargers, which was awesome. So that was a great experience. Ottawa's a big-time football hotbed right now. They had two other guys sign, Wesley Bailey with the Rams, and then you had Rene Conga as well sign a free agent deal. So you've got a major hotbed of talent coming out of the nation's capital right now. But no, I feel like I'll be watching that one. I'd just rather go to the games.
Okay. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, I'm counting down to the World Cup trip to Vancouver with AJ. You guys are that tight? You're making a trip together to the World Cup? You and Rich?
I've known Rich since we were like 4 years old. So yeah, no, it's good. It's exciting for the country. We'll see. I mean, you almost need to take out a second mortgage to finance some of these World Cup trips with the ticket prices. But yeah, looking forward to it. Canada against Bosnia and Toronto, and then they get Qatar and Switzerland in Vancouver. And they've got a legitimate chance to get out of the group. They should get out of the group. They should be a top two team. I would pick Switzerland first, Canada second, Bosnia third, Qatar fourth. But, having Italy lose to Bosnia, I think helped a little bit. Not that Bosnia is going to be an easy game, but if you get a draw against Bosnia, win against Qatar, you're off to the knockout stage. So they've got a legitimate chance to do some things. They've had a lot of injuries, unfortunately, over the last year, but Alphonso Davies is back playing right now. Moise Bombito's, their best center back. Sounds like, he hasn't played for Canada for 15 months, but it sounds like he's going to play some games down the stretch, playing in the top division in France for Nice. So, yeah, I like Canada's chances to get out of the group and kind of 50-50 to win round of 32. It would be tough round of 16 on, but should be an awesome event for Canada, the U.S., and Mexico this summer, and can't wait.
God bless you. I'll take your word for it. And, of course, the Canadian Football League draft Tuesday night. You deserve a medal for what the Red Blacks have been through the last several. Fined on the weekend for violating the salary cap. The number 1 overall pick. Oh, my God.
Well, that's a CFL thing, by the way.
What?
Yeah, first on, that's a CFL thing. They 16,000 over the cap. The only reason they were over the cap with a 4-win team is because they had a ton of injuries, and they changed the way they like when the salary cap went up, they changed the way injuries counted against the cap. So that's a CFL thing. and they need to get their heads out of their rear ends on that one. Because like you can't, like, at least they don't lose a draft pick, nor should they. You shouldn't be punished because you got a bunch of guys injured. Like they had, especially Canadians, they had all these guys injured at the start of the year. It was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. And maybe that's self-inflicted as well. They brought in Jerry Townend and Chris Schwartz, who have tons of experience in pro sports, to head their medical and strength and conditioning. So that's an area that should be improved. And look, it's football. There's still going to be injuries, but certainly they're going to do everything they can to help on that front. But I do think there's optimism here. We'll see what they do with the number one pick. I mean, it's not the same as the NFL draft or the NHL draft when it comes to that. I mean, you're just hoping for somebody that can start at some point in a CFL career, because all the best Canadians are either getting drafted or signing, free agent deals with the NFL in the United States. So we'll see if they can get a player at one. They should be able to. But I do think there's cautious optimism that this team is going to be better with Ryan Dinwiddie as head coach and GM, and just with some of the improvements that they've made. Still some question marks. What's the secondary going to look like? What's the O-line going to look like? But I think they got a good chance to be a playoff team this year, and they need it, because you're right. Never mind me. I love what I do. It's fine for me to call games, but for the fans, like 5 of the last 6 seasons, they won either 3 or 4 games. Like, we're not talking about 7-win seasons here. We're talking about 3 and 4 wins and bad football. So that needs to be changed. There was some positive momentum in 2024 when they made the playoffs, had a 7-1-1 record at home. They're 9-8-1 on the season, but unfortunately they weren't able to build on that. So they made the coaching change. Bob Dice, tremendous football guy, and I know he's going to do great things in Hamilton, but looking forward to seeing what Ryan Dinwiddie can do here with the Red Blacks.
You must have thoughts on record-setting kicker Lewis Ward being released and Brett Lather, the former Rough Rider, being brought in.
Yeah, it sucks for Lewis. I mean, he's been a great player in this league. He had a tough season. I don't even think it's about that, because Brett Lather had a tough season as well, probably even tougher in Saskatchewan than in Ottawa. Look, I think if it came down to just field goals, even though Lather's got a bigger leg, I think there's confidence that Lewis Ward was going to bounce back. But the problem, Lewis Ward has never handled the kickoffs until last year, because Richie Leone was dealing with a bit of an ankle issue, so he couldn't kick off. And, they averaged 55 yards a kickoff, which was kind of 10 yards off from where they needed to be. And the punters that they're bringing in aren't really kickoff guys. So it's kind of a crappy thing when it comes to circumstances. I think Lewis Ward's going to be kicking at some point early in the season, somewhere in the CFL. I don't know where, because I think he's going to have a bounce back season. But we'll see how it plays out from Ottawa, because that's been a terrific part of the Red Blacks game for a long, long time, going back to 2018, with Lewis Ward kicking and Richie Leone punting, and neither are going to be back. So it changes the complete dynamic of how it's going to be. Special teams weren't good last year for the Ottawa Red Blacks, plain and simple. So they need to be better, and we'll see how this all plays out. But I know Lewis, if someone needs an accurate kicker, I am positive he's going to bounce back.
I missed it on Leone. Did he sign somewhere? Where's Richie going?
I don't think he's not officially retired, but he's got a job in Montreal and married with a kid, and kind of. I think he's kept himself. I actually saw him on the weekend. He's kept himself in pretty good shape. So kind of one of those things where I think he's not retiring yet, because just in case somebody needs a punter over the course of the season, he wants to be available for that. But I don't believe he's going to be playing in the CFL this year.
Best hair in the game, Richie Leone.
Best punting quarterback in the game as well. I think he was 4 for 4 in a
Okay.
CFL career, throwing passes.
I didn't know that. He's such a beauty. Alabama guy, Richie Leone. Great guy. Okay.
Georgia.
Got a
Roswell,
minute, AJ.
Georgia.
What else? Whatever. What else is on your sports radar right now?
Oh, that's about it. Unfortunate with the hockey. It's been a fun playoff. If Edmonton loses out, to me, Utah's been a really fun team to watch. Two breakout players for me in these playoffs, and they're great players. If you're watching them 82 games a year, you're not surprised on this. But it's Dylan Guenther and it's Jackson Lacombe. Lacombe's been an absolute beast for Anaheim. I knew he was good, but that people were talking about that 8x9 contract for Lacombe. That is going to age like fine wine. He has been the best defenseman in these playoffs for me. And then Guenther, just an electric player. Put him in pen for 2030. He should be on the 2028 World Cup team. Electric speed, absolute like rocket of a shot, accurate. I mean, that guy is going to be a top six forward for Canada for years to come. So though Utah and Anaheim, I hope it's Utah and Edmonton, but Utah has been so fun to watch, just an electric team. And
There, out of time. An outstanding sports report with AJ. We'll be right back after this.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs guy through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I was chuckling coming back from the commercial here because I was like an idiot spending time watching Instagram. And it was a clip of John Cooper after the game 4 last night talking about how he manages his emotions. And when I say that I'm cheering for Tampa, it's not just because of it's good for business for the Cats and Bolts podcast, as AJ just referenced, Florida's most watched hockey show, but you get to know these guys. And they're hockey guys, so you get to like them. You cheer for a Paul Maurice because he's a great guy. John Cooper is a great guy too, and he's funny. Very funny, Cooper. And when you watch him on the bench, listen, this is going to be somewhat off color, but I don't care. Watch John Cooper on the bench. His mood always looks like somebody just passed gas around him. He's always so unimpressed and annoyed all the time, and I love it. But he's not always like that. That's the thing. When you see them off the bench, in the dressing room, coming into the news conferences, John Cooper's just a great Prince George guy. Or the look of my daughters when they were teens, that so unimpressed. I mean, I don't care. I've been around a million hockey coaches and teenage girls. I don't care whether you're impressed or not. It's funny. And you pull, to me, I pull for a guy like that. And Martin St. Louis, that's a hell of a story, too. I said earlier, whoever wins this series, I'll be happy for both. Like, literally. The Americans, here's the thing. People think that they don't care about hockey. I mean, not as much as Canadians do. But what I will say is the Americans really respect and wish they had what the Canadian teams have. Like that PA announcer in Montreal. I'll say it again. He was belting it out after the, the game on Friday night. I was listening to it on the radio. Mesdames et messieurs, le premier étoile de les Canadiens de Montréal, Lane Hartzer. Just losing his popping blood vessels in his forehead. I love it. Sports update. The Hurricanes and Avalanche are moving on to the conference semifinals after sweeping the Senators and Kings, respectively. The Flyers, up 3-1 on the Penguins, could join them in the second round as soon as tonight. Didn't make my picks yet, but I'll save those for overtime. From the NBA, the good news for the Timberwolves is that they're up 3-1 on the Nuggets. The bad news, superstar Anthony Edwards will miss multiple weeks after exiting Game 4, and starting guard Dante DiVincenzo is out for the season with an Achilles injury. From MLB, the last place Red Sox fired skipper Alex Cora and 5 other coaches on Saturday amid an abysmal start to the season. Former big leaguer Chad Tracy will take over as interim manager. Jim Furyk has reportedly been named captain of the 2027 U.S. Ryder Cup team. The 17-time PGA Tour winner, who also led the squad in 2018, will be tasked with injecting new life into an American team that has lost 2 straight Ryder Cups in 9 of the last 12. That's the sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Are you looking for the hottest fan gear? Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca, where real fans get their gear. 902-518-3033 is the text line. David number 2 writes in from Winnipeg. He says, "Hey, Rod, nice to see you return the Dolphins jersey to Walmart. It's funny because my neighbor Fish was here the other night. On his way out, he's like, I'm just going to take that Dolphins jersey with me and I'll be on my way home. And I'm like, Fish, you can literally get one at Walmart for $50. Don't believe me? There's the tag, Walmart. This is only on sale because it was Tyreek Hill. To me, nicest jersey in the NFL. And I'm a Cowboys fan. So I'm just a smart bargain sniffer. I've been looking for a Dolphins jersey. I don't care whose it is. Like, you're going to go spend $225 on a Tua jersey? And he's playing for the Falcons this year? Forget it. Bob writes in. He says, "G'day, Rod. Bob from the Gas City here. When I watched the Edmonton game, it looked like it was over the line from my TV." Well, huge Oiler fan is AJ. I got it written down here. I think we all know it was in. Okay, I'm trying to help out the Oiler fans here, but I guess they don't want the help. We'll be coming right back with overtime after this. Get those questions in, everybody. It's the RP Show on Silver State Sports. And, of course, Game Plus TV and WQVZ Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back, everybody. Pleased to have you aboard today. Hope you all have enjoyed yourself. I like this. Paul from Humboldt, you're a great guy, Paul. I hope to meet you in person one day. He writes and he says, RP, a bargain shopper? Well, you can take the boy off the farm, but don't even get me started, bro. Bargain shopper, yes. And as I'm dealing with my advisors, let's call them that, I'm like, I'm a farmer. I'm used to, if I haven't done 20 things by noon, I feel like a piece of garbage. I talked to my aunt and uncle who are still on the farm. They're in their 80s. Like, what, you didn't work 20 hours today? What the hell's wrong with you? It's different. It's different down here. Somebody was just saying to me today, they're like, you fit so well with Florida. I'm like, I know, right? It's just a chill. That's what I want to be. I haven't always been that way, but that's what I want to be now. I can't do that 20-hour-a-day working thing. Forget it. What the hell's wrong with you? Nothing. Overtime is for Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Now, those guys, they know how to work, Randy and Michelle. I'll tell you that for free. Family-run business, an amusement park for hockey players. Just stop in and thank me later. 28th Street, Northeast, Calgary, where skill and fun collide. Who is it here? Scott in Vancouver writes, and he says, nice jersey, Rod. It's actually not that nice. I moved it up here because I wanted to put the Vegas one. This thing's legit. That one is $50 from Walmart. I wouldn't even wear it out. You just can't tell on television. That's the beautiful thing about TV. One of the beautiful things about TV. 902-518-3033 is the text line if there's anything you want to get off your chest before we wrap up the show today. Like Mike. Hey, Mike. Where are you? Mike is in Richmond, BC. He says, in my opinion, the call on the ice could not be overturned. The question is how that is called a goal on the ice when there isn't an official anywhere near the net. Oh, boy. Where have we been? We've only been talking about it for the last 2 hours, and I feel like this is, the guys wrote in here earlier, Jason from Red Deer said, ask AJ about the sucker punch. And I'm like, why? Everybody's got a different opinion on the sucker punch from Ridley. Everybody's got a different opinion on it. It was a gloved, yes, it was bad. We used to see it all the time, and I know this isn't the 80s. I know. But my God, a fine to me should suffice. And I was thinking about this earlier. This is what's really ruined sports was, believe it or not, kids, we used to actually all have opinions, and we would talk about them. And sometimes we would actually accept other people's opinions. Now with social media, it's just an all-out war. I'm spending far less time on it because it's been ruining my love of sports. All the fighting, a lot. Not that you're arguing, Mike. No, for sure. That's what's fun about this. To have AJ come on and say, oh, it was a goal. We all know it. Wait a minute. What? You're an Oiler fan. Don't inject logic into this. Like what? Tell Scruffy. He was losing his mind at the start of the broadcast today. By the way, I said the picks we would do for Pump Jacks Cathedral and Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. I can't think of a better place to watch hockey than Pump Jacks. I'm not joking. I had great times there with Corey Sheets and Dwayne Ward and Curtis Joseph. Oh, it's a story for another time. But tonight's picks, Philadelphia at Pittsburgh. Come on. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm going to say Pittsburgh. Don't hold it against me. What were we saying earlier about playoff experience? It was Paul, same guy from Humboldt, said it shows up in Game 7. Maybe it'll show up tonight in Game 5. I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win. Don't take these picks to the bank. Vegas at Utah, Vegas will win. Yeah. They'll be out of the excitement there in Salt Lake City of the first ever Stanley Cup playoff game. This is now the second, and Vegas is going to get serious because they have that ability as a team. My mind just went 8 million places. Probably a good thing that we're wrapping it up for the day. Tomorrow, Alan May will be with us. Washington Capitals TV analyst. I love that guy. One of the best weeks of my life was the Centennial Cup in 2021. National Junior A Championship in Estevan, Saskatchewan. Al flew all the way up from Washington for it because he's Bruins alum. We had such a great time. I was talking to Jeff from Estevan about that yesterday. God, I wish I could go to the Centennial Cup every year. But who's got 10 days to sit and watch 3 games a day? Joe Watson was there. The Philadelphia Flyers, great. Man, was that amazing. Hey, Tony from Cochrane writes in. He says, my first Blue Jays hat was from Walmart. Only $11. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, and he says, don't ever change, Rod. I got my Riders cap and gloves at Value Village. Great bargains. Happy Monday. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he goes, we all want to chill, RP. 6.5 years till retirement. Not that I'm counting, LOL. Oh my, don't start. I was sitting in the press box at the football stadium on Saturday with a couple of football coaches. We're all in our early 50s going, we're tired. We're tired. And retirement is a ways. Yeah. Again, Alan May tomorrow. Scruffy as well. Steve Simmons on Wednesday, and I don't know for Thursday. Any requests? Let me know. 902-518-3033. Scott in Vancouver says, "Go Mammoth." Said no one ever. Why? Cheer for whoever you want. Opinions make the world go round. Did I get through everything? Brady Tkachuk, Alan May, why are TV ratings in the States so high? Joe Rose. Fan animosity. Didn't get to that yet. That's the ugly thing. Now the Habs and the Lightning fans are all at each other's throats. I saw the fights in Edmonton. That was going viral. I'm not here for that. Not here for that. No, and I hope you aren't either. Enjoy the hockey. Tone it down. And we'll do it all again tomorrow. Noon Eastern on Game Plus and in prime time in Nevada here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow here on the RP Show.
That